Welcome to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery, starring Jerry Springer with Gene Galvin and me. I am Maria Corelli. We are recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience here in Folk School Coffee Parlor of Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy came home every day from there.
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Judge Jerry!
And to quote Donald Trump, there are 50,000 people here. Unbelievable. Oh. Whoa.
Yeah, you know, that is unbelievable. We let that opening play just a little bit longer before you introduce Judge Jerry, because he starts the Judge Jerry show in September on stations all across the country. He just got back from a convention where you sell the show.
Convention, yeah.
And you've got like 90% of America covered.
Yeah,
with
you'd
that
be
show?
walking down the hall. It was at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami.
Okay, never been to any place like that. I don't
You
live in that world.
No, you couldn't afford to get in. But anyway, walking down the hallway. Hey, Judge!
Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh, nice.
But Patrick Kennedy, also known as Patrick Who, is our
He's on
musical
first.
guest tonight. And he... He'd have to be way too old to get that.
If you're older than 7, now we know who's older than 70.
Anyway, Patrick Kennedy is our musical guest, and Patrick Kennedy wrote that song.
Yeah.
And with Dinah, what's Dinah's last name? Devoto. Teamed up with him, a group called Red Cedars, and they recorded that, and that's our opening song, and we love it, so we're really looking forward to it. We're also going to ask Jerry to give us some thoughts on the Starbucks CEO who's thinking of an independent run for president. Boo! But anyway, it was weird. Speaking of Judge Jerry, my mother-in-law died a few weeks back. God rest her soul. Jean Williams lived to almost 94. And thank you to you and Mickey and Louis Beck, another friend of ours, who you came to her funeral and the family was touched. They were a little miffed, and maybe I shouldn't discuss this publicly, but for you to walk around and hand out cards advertising the Judge Jerry show, inappropriate.
Well,
You did what?
Inappropriate.
Well, they were just all sitting there and we were waiting.
Rude.
Right. Yeah, that's called the communion time when everybody's quiet. You know, in the Catholic Church, that's what that is. That's not like.
So I
work
just
the
went,
crowd.
I just went down the aisle and I said, could you pass those down?
It's awful.
Unbelievable.
Now I'm feeling badly as
Well,
if it
you
were
should.
inappropriate.
By the way, there's a place, my wife and I went there on Sunday night, a place in Augusta, Kentucky. So from here about maybe 40 minutes, straight up the Ohio River, called the Beehive. And it's an old restaurant in a building that was built probably in the 1800s time of the, colonial time even. And it closed, and some people bought it who live nearby, who have a home in Colorado. I learned this by talking to the owner. And they restored it, and it is an amazing place. So I just want to tell people, if you're ever out in the Augusta, Kentucky area, very historic area, you got to go to the Beehive. And Maria, they are... they've got musicians that are playing on Friday and Saturday nights.
Do they?
And I
Right.
talked to the general manager, whose name is Rob McGregor, about maybe our podcast teaming up with the Beehive to share some of our players with them, because it's always cool to get people work, whether it's you or Ben Knight and the Gravediggers. I can think of Adam West. I can think of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hannah Mathy.
That's
All
awesome.
the people I just named live in Ludlow, Kentucky. Singer-songwriters.
Perfect.
So anyway, gonna try to kind of make that happen. That
Did they comp your meal?
No, they didn't. Never happens to me.
I just wondered why you
No, it
brought
never
this up.
happens. No. Because I'm a good guy. I'm just a good guy.
I went to Skyline on Sunday.
Let me ask you one last question
We'll
about.
definitely take a trip now.
Yeah, we need to go there. And
Skyline.
maybe even Skyline. Yeah, we'll be there later. Judge Jerry show. We just referenced it. You can, if you're a judge, I know you can marry people. You can officiate
I married
weddings.
Mickey 45 years ago.
No, you can officiate weddings.
Oh, you mean, right, I guess. Well, I did that as mayor, I married people.
I know you did.
Yeah.
And so why don't we put the call out right now that if you want to get married on the Jerry Springer podcast, contact us. You can do it to me. I'm the executive producer. I'm not a producer. I'm the executive producer. You know what I'm saying? You got your producers, and then you got the executive
I'd love to
producer.
see your office.
Yeah, it's the corner of
And you mean that if they contact us,
They contact
how are you
Jene at
going to find it? Because you
jerryspringer.com.
get literally thousands of emails every week.
Thousands of them.
So many.
And you're going to have to
Thousands.
sift through them to find the one that's asking.
I think probably the highest number of emails each week is can I come see a show? Can I come and be in the Folk School Coffee Parlor here in
Yeah.
Ludlow, Kentucky?
Nice crowd. Too.
And they say, what are the requirements to be in the audience? And I say, breathe. And I always make it clear we are not coming
Or at
after
least
your
recently.
car to carry you in. You have to be able to get in here on
That's
your
the
own.
key. Yeah.
And stuff
You
like
can
that.
come in here, yeah.
You can make it in here.
Maybe
And we
people
don't
like-
give out oxygen either.
We do have a big crowd here tonight, but it could be because it's so cold outside, people are just trying to get warm.
Could be a lot of homeless
This
people.
is, this isn't a coffee shop tonight, this is a shelter.
I thought of that.
That's all coming.
Hey, Maria, if we did this marrying thing where he officially... Well, wait a second.
Wait a
First of all,
second.
maybe you want to get married. You want to get
Where
married?
are we going with this?
Well, I don't know.
Well, I don't know, you could plan your own honeymoon, I'm just gonna do the marriage.
No, you could sing what's that song that Paul Stuckey did?
The
from
wedding
Beautiful
song.
and Married. This is going
The
back
wedding
a ways.
song.
The wedding song. But,
Oh.
but so we could officiate weddings, and you
Yeah.
could do the music, and
I would love to be a part of that.
yeah,
Yes.
I think that.
Actually, that
That'd
would
be
be.
awesome.
Can you imagine? And this is true. There really are people who got married when I was mayor. In other words, they came to the mayor's office, and I did the
Mayor in Cincinnati, Ohio. You're
yeah,
the mayor of
and I
Cincinnati.
did the service or whatever, and then officially married them. They're walking around this planet, having to tell people if they ask that they got married by Jerry Springer. I mean, really, if you think about it.
Because a TV show
How many-
came after that.
Yeah, how many do you think really took? I wonder if anyone's still married.
So I guess all the emails that come in, you said, how are you going to sift through all of them? Maybe they could just put like big capital letters, marriage.
Mayor,
They
mayor,
want it.
yeah,
And they
mayor.
send their name, so, because I want to prepare a nice sermon. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, seriously,
I call it
if
a
somebody.
sermon. It's-
Well, wait a minute. Let's go for the low-hanging fruit. Is there anybody here that would like to get married
Tonight.
tonight?
Okay,
hold on.
how many want to get divorced? Okay, well, we're going to start a line here on the right.
No, wait, but no. Let's put a finer point on this. Please, men and women, or women and women, men and men, we don't care. Look around. If you see somebody you'd like to marry,
Yeah,
point to them or hold their hand up,
and we'll
come
marry
on up
you
here.
here.
And
Because
Jerry
only
will marry
one,
you.
yeah, the way I do it, only one of you has to consent. Oh, there goes me too.
Unbelievable. By the way, that was Jerry Springer that
No,
said that. I'm
someone
Gene
get
Galvin.
Jerry, he's not
That's
here.
Maria Corelli over
Yeah.
here. Hey,
Marriage, yeah.
you, I don't know whether I should say this because we're sitting at Folk School Coffee Parlor where they make great coffee.
Yeah.
But you also are known for being a Starbucks fiend. You get up every day, tell the truth,
This is
every single day, 7 days a week.
And I get up.
Your drill is what?
The first, I get up, shower, whatever, and then Mickey and I, if I'm home or if I'm not home, I go to Starbucks, wherever the closest one is, which is usually 27 feet,
Yeah.
and get my grande mocha with extra whip. But you guys here at the coffee parlor, this is good
Yeah,
stuff.
no, it is.
Yeah.
It's as good, if not better. What's better? Far better. But
Are they going to comp you as a seal?
you know, we joke
put
about
a billboard on your head.
You know, this is the truth, and we've talked about this before. We've been hanging around together for, who knows, 1970, a long, long time. When we started, we were both lowlifes. We had nothing. We weren't doing anything.
What do you mean, were?
No. No, I was working in education, and you were working in politics, and we were both making about the same amount of money, to be honest.
Yeah,
Young city council member, educator, Cincinnati Public Schools. As time passed, I stayed true. I had a moral compass. I kept head north. No. And Jerry got real famous and real rich. And this is something I've noticed. We've talked about it, joked about it. We go places and they will regularly comp Jerry. Regularly. We'll go in for a meal, like an expensive. I pick up all the real cheap checks. He gets and I back off when we go into a really nice place. So the bill might be for a couple people or four of us, $100, $200.
You always seem to
and
go
then
to
they
the
come.
bathroom when the
I
check-
do, yeah. Then they come over and they say, "Thank you, Mr. Springer, for being here. The chef has picked up the check." And I'm like, if you have children, but what the fuck? I mean, I'm the one that needs it. I'm the one that needs the help. And they don't do that.
It's unfair.
Unfair. Anyway, speaking of Starbucks, Howard Schultz is the CEO. And it came out just this week, so we're recording this on the 29th of January, that he is really taking a look at running as an independent. Serious run, because he's got a former Obama campaign official who signed on with him.
Right.
What's your take on that?
Well, I really got lit up about this, and how this came about. It was Sunday afternoon, and I purposely wanted to watch because I want to see who. I haven't yet committed to any one particular candidate for the Democratic nomination for president, and because there's so many that I kind of like, and I just want to see before I say this is the one. And there are a whole bunch of what looked like very qualified people, and I could get excited about, etc. Anyway, Kamala Harris was announcing in Oakland. And I got to tell you, I don't ever remember someone announcing for president to such a crowd. We joke about it, but when that camera panned back and the police there said there were more, but there were at least 20,000 people. If you saw on television or you watched the news, as far as the eye could see, down the streets, the public square, 20,000 people just for the announcement. So it's like, and then I watched and I listened, and the things that came across, some of which I already knew, but what just blew through the screen. She's obviously very bright, and she's got a great resume, government service, very responsible jobs. The last one, Senate, but before that, Attorney General of the state of California. In other words, she's a serious person, compassionate, multicultural, incredible charisma. And all of a sudden, you see the whole package there. I'm not saying my mind's, totally made up, but wow, I was just, called Mickey over and we were watching, and it was like, yeah, this is what you want in a candidate, where generationally perfect, of a younger generation. It's just like, this is what can beat Trump. This is, and I love her line, which as much as I loved Hillary, you couldn't define in one sentence why you were for Hillary. It was always a long explanation of where she stood on certain issues and a lifelong commitment and this, that, and the other. But with Kamala Harris, she said, we're better than this. And wow, just that line, and everyone nods their head, because even if you were a Republican, you kind of know that as a nation, we're better than this. No one looks to Washington right now and says, wow. And so she just envelops all these things. So anyway, as you can tell, I'm on this high for like only 3 hours. Because 3 or 4 hours later, Eastern Time, Howard Schultz, the guy who created Starbucks, is on, I think, 60 Minutes. I forget what show he was on. But he says, I'm thinking about running for president. And it's like puncturing the balloon. Say, oh, no. You know, we're so close to finding a group of people that, wow, this, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We know where we can go as a party. We know where we can go as a country, at least in the right direction. And now we got this guy, Howard Schultz, who's incredibly accomplished in what he did with Starbucks. And he's got billions of dollars. But, you know, think about it. We could wind up with a presidential race. Let's say Bloomberg decides to run in the Democratic primaries. What if he won? We could have a race where you got 3 billionaires running for president. Choose the billionaire you want. Bloomberg, Schultz, or Trump. And there's something wrong with a democracy having that as the choice. I'm not saying you should be disqualified because you're rich, but, you know, what's the point of having the system is now everyone who has $1 billion decides, yeah, I think I'll be president. You know, they already run the economic system, are they also going to run the government? It's like, be careful, you know, okay. I don't want him to run as an independent. I think it would be horrible. Number one, because you're good at business, has nothing to do with whether you can be good in the government. Being good in business is about making a profit. And that's what you should do. That's why you get people investing. You invest in business to make money. So he's excellent at that. You know, full disclosure, I'm addicted to Starbucks. So I love what he did in the business. I wish the lines were shorter. But, so he does that. But business is to make a profit. Government is to provide services, which by definition are not profitable. If it were profitable, the government wouldn't have to do it. The reason you have government is because the individual person can't pay for everything by themselves, and there's not a business that will do it because it's not profitable. So the government does it. The government provides protection. The government makes sure our water is clean, or should. You know, the government makes sure that our kids get educated. The government provides fire protection, military protection. That's government. Provide service, food stamps, housing. It's not profitable. So, you know, you don't get to be president because, gee, I've got a successful, famous business. Has anyone heard of Donald Trump? Even though he turned out, as we now know, he wasn't a good businessman. But, so that's not a qualification. Second, if he runs, and this is the conventional wisdom, but in this time the conventional wisdom is right, he's going to make Trump the next president, assuming Trump runs again. If you've got billions of dollars, you're going to get some votes, right? And we saw what happened last time. Even though Hillary got 3 million more votes than Trump, she still wasn't the winner. We can't afford to go through this again. Now, there's no way an independent of any qualification under our current system can get 271 electoral votes. It's not possible. It would require all of us who are lifelong Democrats or lifelong Republicans, every one of us to turn our back on the party. It's not going to happen. The next thing, which I don't like what he said, he says his reason for running is the system's broken, which everybody now says. We'll see if it's broken. I'm not convinced yet. But certainly the Democratic Party isn't broken. He says the parties are too extreme. Well, I'll admit the Republican Party has been taken over by the extreme right. That's been done even before Trump, starting with Tea Party. But the Democratic Party is not extreme. Why? On virtually every issue you can think of, almost every issue, the Democratic position is mainstream America. Mainstream America overwhelmingly wants health insurance for all citizens. Mainstream America is with the Democratic Party position on wealthier people should be taxed more, and tax break for the middle class. Most Americans are now pro-choice. Most Americans are for pre-K education. Most Americans believe there ought to be financial aid for college. Any issue you take on the environment, most Americans are pro-environment. Most Americans are green. So what's extreme? Now, there are some candidates running that are going to be more to the left than others. Then if you don't like that Howard Schultz, then run in the Democratic primaries and try to win the argument so that your party on that issue is closer to what you want. That's why we have primaries. But how are you better than Donald Trump? Donald Trump didn't get his issue, the wall, so he shuts down our government. You don't get your issue because you don't want Medicare for all, so you're willing to shut down the Democratic Party. How are you different? Are we now at the point where if a billionaire doesn't like your position on every issue, he'll just tear down the whole system? That's why people have every right to be angry at Howard Schultz right now. No one is saying that he can't run for president. He's been a Democrat his whole life. There's one issue that he's ticked off about. Then run in the primaries and try to win the argument. You look at the whole slew of Democratic candidates. How can you say that every one of them is a lefty? Elizabeth Warren is far to the left, and Bernie Sanders is perhaps clearly left of center. But then you got Joe Biden, Sherrod Brown, the female senator, the woman senator from Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota. Did I mispronounce it? I did. What is it?
Klobuchar.
Oh, Klobuchar. So you got choices in the Democratic Party. You don't like it? What's happening? Run in the party. But don't kill the party and elect Donald Trump. It's an maniacal billionaire at some point gets up in the morning and think, as my first political job ever, I want to be president of the United States. We all thought it was crazy when Trump did it, and it was. So let's say the same thing. Any billionaire that comes up and wants to break down the system so he or she can be president, it's just as crazy and just as wrong, and I would argue just as undemocratic.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to our music portion of the podcast. We've got a dear old friend back here on the podcast this week. It's Patrick Who. He is the, one of our favorites. As Gene said, he is the writer of our intro song. So who you hear singing at the top of our podcast, you're going to hear him singing here today. Welcome back, Pat. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be back.
Tell us about the song that you're about to play.
This one was more of a, I had a melody like kind of in search of words, and I've written a lot of songs from life experiences, but I'm running out of those, so I figured I'd try a common theme, and I'm sure everybody's thought about hunting down their dad and killing him. Just to be clear, my dad grew up in Ludlow. He had the great fortune of turning 18 in 1941. So his life was planned for a while, but...
Did your dad really grow up in Ludlow?
Mama and dad, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, but this isn't about them. want to make that clear.
But thanks for sharing.
My mama left me with a heavy load. Died when I was 13 years old. My daddy, he was always on the road. After she died, he never came back home. I started to steal, so I had to run. 1,000 miles in all alone. I find my daddy before I'm done. Sharpen my switchblade, and I got my gun. My mind is blown like the wind. I ain't got no time for friends. I just wanna find him, put him in the ground. Walked into the shantytown bar one night. I was drinking whiskey made with rye. I looked down that bar into his eye. He turned pale, paler than a cold moonlight. My mind is blown like the wind. I ain't got no time for friends. Can't believe that I found him. I put him in the ground.
Oh, thank you. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Pat. Tell us a little bit. I heard that you're coming out with an album this year. Is this true?
Good buddy Jamin Zeiler. He's friends with any. If you own a guitar, he should be your friend. But he's also a great sound engineer, and he's recorded. Talked me into doing one just me and my guitar, which there's about 14 songs on it. It's a lot of me, but I may take it down to 10 and do one, maybe 10 more with a band. It should be out this spring.
Okay.
Good for you.
Well, where could we hear it when it does come out?
You know what?
You can listen in your living room. You can,
Yep. I've never taken care of that before, so he'll take care of that.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Will you do us a huge favor and sing Down by the Riverside and
Sure.
have Jerry sing along with you a little here?
I'm sorry.
I've been working on this one.
Gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside. Ain't gonna study no orange no more. Ain't gonna study no war no more. Ain't gonna study no war no more. Ain't gonna study no war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more.
Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by
gonna study